The next day, Isuzu was asked to taste the latest croquette flavor made by Latifa. Isuzu really liked the taste. Latifa told her that the croquette she had just eaten was an orange-flavored croquette made using orange jam. She also mentioned that she was in the process of making a black tea-flavored croquette, which would be ready soon, and asked Isuzu to try it as well. Latifa shared that recently, whenever she opened the window, she could hear the laughter of both the guests and the performers. She then asked how Seiya was doing, knowing he must be busy. Isuzu replied that Seiya was working really hard. Latifa asked Isuzu to bring some croquettes to Seiya as well since she wanted to hear his opinion. Suddenly, Latifa lost her balance and fell. Isuzu quickly caught her. Latifa reassured her that she was fine, saying that she just felt a little dizzy again. However, not long after, she fainted. Seiya immediately rushed to the castle and asked Isuzu and Maful about Latifa. Isuzu told him that she was sleeping. Seiya then asked if Latifa had some kind of illness. Isuzu and Maful remained silent, which made Seiya even more suspicious. He pressed them further, asking why they refused to answer. Maful eventually said that Latifa was fine and that she would recover soon after getting some rest. Then Maful quickly left. Seiya was sure that Isuzu knew something. Isuzu then revealed that people from the magical realm needed Animus, the happiness and joy of Earth's inhabitants, to survive. She went on to explain something that had happened a long time ago. Back then, Maple Land was attacked by a dragon even larger than Rubrun. Even the combined strength of the royal army was not enough to defeat it. At that time, a wizard approached the king and offered to slay the dragon, but only in exchange for marrying the princess. The king had no choice but to accept the deal. As promised, the wizard defeated the dragon. Seiya assumed that the wizard and the princess must have lived happily ever after. But Isuzu shook her head. She explained that the king couldn't bear to give away his daughter, so he broke his promise to the wizard. In his fury and mortally wounded, the wizard cast a curse upon the princess, one that drained her animus. That princess was none other than Latifa. The only way for her to stay alive was to send her to Earth and care for her in a place rich in animus. Seiya finally understood the true purpose of Amagi Brilliant Park. If the park were to close, Latifa would die. That evening, Seiya visited Latifa and asked how she was feeling. Latifa smiled and said she was fine after getting some rest. However, Seiya looked troubled. Latifa could tell that Isuzu had told him about the curse. She had previously asked Isuzu to keep it a secret so Seiya wouldn't worry. Latifa apologized for not telling him everything herself. She then asked about the park's condition. Seiya said that everyone was working hard, but if things continued as they were, it might be impossible to reach the target number of visitors. Despite this, Latifa remained calm. Seiya was puzzled. How could she be so composed when her life was on the line if the park was shut down? Latifa admitted that she wouldn't be able to hold on forever, but she had not lost hope. Seiya found it strange. He had just told her how dire the situation was, yet she still believed in a miracle that might never happen. Latifa explained that a miracle had already happened. She pointed out that everyone in the park had changed because of Seiya. The park was now filled with laughter from both the performers and the guests. Seiya was confused. How could that be considered a miracle? Latifa said that while it might not seem significant to him, to her, it was nothing short of a miracle. Seiya then blurted out, saying that all Latifa ever did was lie in bed. He suddenly fell silent, as if lost in thought, remembering something from his past, perhaps a memory of a little girl similar to Latifa. Latifa noticed something was weighing on Seiya's mind and asked him about it. Seiya then asked if she was really okay. Latifa smiled, assuring him that she was fine and that the pain she felt was nothing compared to everything else. That day, Seiya held a meeting with Isuzu, the fairies, Dornell, and Wanapi. He rejected every idea they proposed. Wanapi suggested extending the park's operating hours to 24 hours, thinking it could increase the number of visitors. However, Seiya pointed out that while it might help in the long run, it wouldn't be enough to meet their deadline. Dornell then proposed a corporate event, but Seiya dismissed it, saying it would take too long to reflect in their visitor count, and they were running out of time. Right now, the most important thing was reaching their quota. The fairies suggested a 0 yen admission campaign, but Seiya argued that it wasn't much different from the 30 yen promo, and it would only put more financial strain on them. Frustrated, Seiya angrily reminded them that they needed a simple yet effective idea to reach the remaining target of 134,000 visitors by July 31. After the meeting, Wanapi was confused and frustrated, wondering why Seiya reacted so harshly despite their efforts to help. Salama even considered launching an online campaign against him. Kobori questioned if something had happened to Seiya. Dornell speculated that he was feeling cornered because of the looming deadline. While they discussed Seiya, Sophie was busy reading comments on the carousel dance video she had uploaded. Kobori joked that people would be shocked to hear about a young professional losing hope in his job. Salama even posted on social media calling Seiya an incompetent newcomer who had taken control of everything. Before they knew it, their workday was almost over. Days continued to pass, and although the number of visitors at Amagi Brilliant Park was increasing, it was still uncertain whether they could reach the target by July 31. Seiya kept racking his brain trying to come up with a way to bring in more visitors and meet their goal. Time was ticking and everyone at the park was working hard. Despite their efforts, the growth in visitor numbers remained slow. Seiya continued evaluating each employee's performance daily, making adjustments to improve efficiency. By July 19, Malful came into Seiya's office and commented on how Seiya had been isolating himself lately. Seiya snapped, saying that if they continued like this, they wouldn't meet their goal. Malful was surprised by how stubborn Seiya was being. Isuzu pointed out that everyone was working hard, but Seiya coldly responded that they were supposed to effort without results was meaningless. Malful reminded him that Seiya himself had once said he would do whatever it took to get even a single extra visitor. Seiya, frustrated, shot back that such a naive way of thinking was exactly why they weren't seeing results. Angered, Malful grabbed Seiya by the collar. Seiya then lashed out, saying that while the park's performers could always find jobs elsewhere if the amusement park closed, it was different for Latifa. Her fate was tied to the park's survival. Malful immediately asked if Isuzu had told him, and she admitted that she had. Without another word, Malful let go of Seiya and walked away. Later that night, Seiya was still lost in thought at home. Aisu noticed and asked if his job was exhausting. Instead of answering directly, Seiya asked Aisu if she found being a magazine editor difficult. She casually replied that it was easy, except for times when manuscripts were late, printing machines broke down, and writers kept missing their deadlines. Seiya then asked what she did when things weren't going well at work. Aisu simply replied that she drank sake to forget about it. The next day, Seiya went to school as usual. It turned out that it was the last day of school before summer break. Early that morning, Seiya sat on a park bench lost in thought. Suddenly, Malful appeared, greeted him, and tossed him a canned drink. Seiya immediately drank it. Out of nowhere, Malful asked him to pay back 130 yen, which surprised Seiya, but it turned out that Malful was just joking. Seiya said he couldn't stand looking at Malful, and Malful felt the same way about Seiya. Malful then asked why Seiya looked so hopeless. Seiya explained that he had met Latifah once when he was a child. Back then, he had randomly wandered into the park and saw Latifah crying. Curious, he asked her why she was crying. At the time, Latifah told him that she was cursed by a witch and that she felt lonely. Hearing this, Seiya tried to comfort her so she would stop crying. To cheer her up, he acted like Prince Shotoku, hoping to make her laugh. However, despite his efforts, he failed. When he finished his performance, Latifah only gave a small smile, filled with sadness, and in that moment, Seiya felt as if she was the one comforting him instead. He then told her that he would save her. Seiya then asked Malful if Latifah had always remained the same and if magical beings never aged. Malful explained that Latifah was an exception. Her curse not only affected her health, but also reset her memories and physical development every year. Latifah had been living as a 14-year-old girl for a decade. That was why she still looked the same. Malful further explained that Latifah was cursed on August 1st, and when that day came, she would completely forget about Seiya. Seiya didn't care if Latifah forgot about him. What mattered to him was getting another chance to make her smile, so he refused to fail a second time. Then Seiya asked Malful why he cared so much about Latifah. Malful revealed that Latifah was his niece. Seiya was surprised to learn that they were actually related. Malful then shared that he had once considered taking care of Latifah by becoming a street performer if the park ever shut down. However, he later realized that living a peaceful life wasn't so bad after all. It might not last forever, but he was willing to accept it as their fate. However, when Seiya arrived at the park, he changed Malful's perspective. Malful now believed that a happy ending would come, and he was ready to fight until the very end. He then asked Seiya what he would do. Seiya smiled and followed in Malful's footsteps.